This is Carolina Motorsports Park, the first stop on the GridLife calendar for 2026. It was built in 1999, making it the youngest track on the calendar for the year, and it has a ton of challenges, even though it's relatively new. The first big deal here at CMP, the start-finish line is right there, and turn one is right here. And to get a quick lap, sometimes you actually have to blow the braking zone for turn one. You can't find yourself off track or you'll get yourself a penalty. Right after turn one, the next challenge, turn two. This big gnarly curve that you have to claw over, and at the race starts especially, it gets incredibly tight right here as everybody funnels down to the chute to turn four. Once you clobber the curbs at turns 2 and 3, you drift out to these gator strips at the exit at turn 3. It's pretty wide here, probably about 7 or 8 feet wide, but these are incredibly rough on your car, and you sort of have to use your suspension as a non-renewable resource. Once you bend it, it's day over. And this next chute, it has a lot of similarity to Audubon Country Club, a track that Alan Wilson, the designer of this track, also designed. Behind me, way in the distance, are turns 8 and 9. Turn 8, downhill right-hander, leads you to turn 9, which is flat out and fast. This is the fastest part of the racetrack, speeds well in excess of 140 miles an hour in some of the faster categories, and even quicker than that at the very top level. Any corner called the kink is a driver's worst nightmare. This is the fastest corner around the lap at Carolina Motorsports Park, well over 130 miles an hour in time attack cars. You better hope you have downforce, and you better hope you turn in right on time, because this curve is going to send you airborne incredibly quickly, and it leads straight into a braking zone and a passing opportunity. So it is a critical turn to get right, and it's the biggest gut check around this lap. If you do everything right, it's about 1:35 to 1:45 a lap, depending on your car. But just because this is one of the newest tracks on the calendar and doesn't have a ton of history, this is a true challenge at the beginning of the season, has a lot of texture and a lot of character. And this is a great place to kick things off for 2026. Sights, sounds, smells in South Carolina. These are the senses of a new GridLife season. Hi, everybody, and welcome to 2026. Kyle Heyer joined by Jacob Gettens and Jackson Lambros down in the pit lane. Jacob, we're so excited to be back. A 6-round season in GridLife. Everything's a big event. We've got 5 big festivals and, of course, the collaboration with Formula Drift coming up just next month, in the month of May. But here, our 4th trip to Carolina Motorsports Park in just outside of Kershaw, South Carolina. A packed grid, 260 cars here this weekend.
Yeah, it's absolutely wild, and this is where hopes and dreams can be made almost immediately. This is where it's going to set the tone for the entire season for these. There's going to be possibly records broken. There's also going to be some drivers going home real upset, but either way, this year begins right here, right now. 5 series on location here this weekend. Our GridLife TrackBattle Time Attack Championship, Eibach GLTC, GridLife GT, as well as the GridLife Rush Series and Drift, both on the full course and the kart track. And with the new season, we're also welcome a new team member here down on the grid. We've got Jackson Lambros. Jackson, what you got down there on the pit lane?
Thanks so much, guys. Really happy to be here for my first ever GridLife weekend with you guys. Although, I'll tell you what, we've had this weather so far, it almost feels like we're halfway through the championship. It's been high 80s, low 90s to get us kicked off here Friday for our first full on-track day. But you know what? That's just going to make grip an absolute premium here for so many of these guys. After talking to the teams, after talking to a lot of the drivers, especially in TC, in GT, which will be having their first qualifying sessions coming up, it's going to be hard to really extract grip from CMP here as we head into this first full round. But again, we'll help you here on the ground, hear from these drivers, hear from these teams, and of course, I'll be patrolling the paddock here and helping to give all of you guys at home a taste of the GridLife.
Pavement here is pretty coarse, and it has a lot of grip to offer, but there's a lot of dust blowing around. It's fairly dry right now. There's a lot of challenges. It's also a pretty flat racetrack, but it has a lot of texture, which is a term that Greg Creamer brings up a lot. But it is not an easy racetrack, even though it might look like that on a map.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of forgiveness in going off here. But between the rumble strips, the gator strips, as you said, and the runoffs, a lot of them are just pure sand. So few tracks on the calendar, you can kind of run off into the grass and rejoin. If you find yourself on the wrong side of that tape, you're going to be be stuck out there and just watching all your competitors go by.
There's a look at the campgrounds here at CMP. More campers than ever before, more drivers than ever before. This is a big show here this weekend. We welcome a whole host of new partners, including Forza Horizon 6. We've got Tire Rack coming on board and a whole number of others. Moza's here in the arcade, providing some sim equipment. So it is a visceral experience here. We're just outside of turn 14 at the far end of this shot. You can see the smoke from the kart track. We've got kart track drift tonight from 7 to 9 p.m. Night shift drift is what that's going to be called. Greg Bucell will be joining us. And at the moment on the racetrack, we're just finishing up our second heat of GridLife Track Battle action before we get into qualifying coverage for the GridLife Rush Series. We were just talking right before the show about this car. This is Alan Patton's number 606, Louis Gelati built Corvette. And it's seen some changes. Cars have been on track for one heat so far today, just kind of getting things under them here. Again, with this racetrack, a lot of new builds in season one or race one of the season. So you're testing things, you're getting yourself sorted. Just a lot to learn in this opening day.
Yeah, for sure. And it looks like Alan Patton in particular still has a lot more to go. Only throwing down that one lap so far, sitting on a 1:47.340. So not the lap he's going to be looking for, sitting pretty far back in the unlimited class. But as we know, very steely competitor, making that jump up into that unlimited class and sporting some slicks. So it's a whole new vehicle at this point in time and a lot more to learn.
Yeah, and we're also welcoming so many new things, new drivers, new cars, new builds, but also some new tech. We've got some great new camera shots here this weekend, courtesy of Project Prime running the show here. Some nice long angles from turn 14 and turn 8. Also got a new system in the background, GridLife Club, kind of driving some additional data that we'll get to look at as far as engine information, tire information, and just some other data points about the entries here this weekend. Pretty excited about that. We've also got live timing and scoring available, gridlife.club/timing to follow along as we just kind of finish out Group A here for the GridLife Track Battle Championship. 80 cars this weekend here.
Yeah, we've got them packed in here for sure, and it's going to be a great weekend. So far, practice has been uneventful in a very positive way. A couple of cars venturing off into the grass, but nothing major, no huge news. So it seems like everybody's maybe taking things a little bit slow in the beginning, and we'll start to see things ramp up as the weekend goes on. But for right now, things have been fairly tidy throughout our practice sessions.
Yeah, we talked about the racetrack a little bit earlier. Let's have a different look at it from high above, an aerial rendering of GridLife South Carolina and Carolina Motorsports Park. We documented 1999 was when the track was built. It's 14 turns here, Jacob. So let's have a look here at a GridLife track preview. And GridLife takes over. Down into turn 1, that's right at the end of the straightaway. We talked about how challenging it is with the start-finish line right there. The shoot over to turn 3, and then this triple apex right-hander, very reminiscent of a corner sequence at Autobahn Country Club. This track designed by Alan Wilson, same as there. And then the run to turn 8, good passing opportunity there. But then this fast run down to the kink.
Yeah, and then once you get into the kink, it is, it's just hold on for dear life. Hopefully you catch that apex and not at the curb. Getting things into 11, you want to stay as late on the brakes as possible. And depending on your line through there, you can completely win or lose the rest of this lap. 12, 13, and then big brakes on 14, and that long shot out to the finish line. As you said earlier on, you might overshoot one, but that could be what you need to get yourself a lap record.
Yeah, that turn 14, slowest turn on the racetrack, and it's the last one. It's a passing zone. It's critical for the track battle drivers. Getting a run off of that corner to finish your fast lap is of utmost importance. Luke McGrew in the number 717. He has just had a phenomenal time in GridLife the past couple of years. Won the Street GT Championship last year in this car. I was just caught up with him earlier in the weekend. He was just showing me how much 3D printing he's doing in this car, how many pieces and components that he's printing with all sorts of different kinds of plastics infused with carbon and things. He's got brake ducts that are all 3D printed, so he's really got this thing figured out. It doesn't look like a lot's done on the outside, but underneath and inside, a lot done.
Yeah, as a 3D printing nerd myself, it's incredible what is available to us now. Even things like TPU flexible filaments you can use for roll cage padding. You can use it for different mounts and things like that. But the ability to be able to prototype and get things done, or just build something that's bespoke to your own needs, is incredible. And I think it really is the future of racing, and it's going to allow a lot of drivers to be able to develop and get cars to do things that previously only large teams with massive budgets are able to do.
Yeah, and so of course Luke is battling against one of his friends, Ryan Matthews, another After Dark speed supported car, both in Corvette Z06s, and that's of note specifically because Street GT this weekend, it has registered for that class this weekend 11 cars, and from what it looks like there's about 7 or 8 of those that are Corvette Z06s specifically. It is a Corvette class this weekend. A lot of Z06s going toe to toe.
Yeah, it's it's a phenomenal platform. I think almost all the major work in it has been done at this point, which means it's a very competitive class because it's now just down to possibly even those 3D printed parts. If you can keep the brakes nice and tidy and cooled off throughout the entire thing, that's going to be a massive advantage. I think the big thing for me with this track is going to be driver's side tire wear, or at least left side of the car tire wear, just because of corners like 5, 6, and 7, where you're going to be loading that outside tire a lot for a very, very long period of time. There's going to be some spots where you can cool things off that stretch between 7 and 8 with a slight bend to the right, but really that outside tire management is going to be kind of crucial to being able to put down lap after lap.
And Andreas Bertulis is back again right out to the edge of the road in that number 171 Lexus RCF. 5-liter V8 in this thing. It gets up and goes. It weighs about 3,000 pounds, 8-speed automatic transmission. You can see on the windshield there, it's flexing, it's buffeting in the wind because he's replaced all the glass in this car with Lexan. This car weighs much more than 3,000 pounds from factory, and they strip all the weight out of it. Taking the glass out is a good way to do that.
Yeah, whenever you're taking a luxury vehicle and turning it into a race car, the amount of sound deadening and everything else that you can pull out of the car is absolutely incredible. They're meant to be, both powerful and smooth and quiet, and now we are just going with the smooth and fast section of that. But yeah, beautiful, beautiful build. Really riding the line on some of the modifications when it comes to aero, as we see catching some sparks to a few of these corners. But tidy looking car. Not the heaviest, but up there. It's got some weight to it.
Yeah, certainly. It's got a lot of weight, but it's also got a lot of power. It's got a lot. Got a big, nice rear wing on there to get some downforce out of it. But Andreas has been around for quite some time here in Gridlife Track Battle. You know what I love about Andreas is he does not waste his track time. He is out there lap after lap after lap, even in the rain when there isn't usually a reason to be on course in a time attack championship. Again, we're just running for best lap time here. It's not a participation competition, but he still, if it was, he'd win that.
Yeah, I think there's something to that, though. That's a driver that just wants to get better no matter the conditions. And, and maybe you're not going to set the best time there, but that practice in the rain could mean the difference at an event where, we never want rain, but it does show a different level of driver at that point.
Dallas Reed on course in a 2026 ZR1.
Beautiful car.
Yeah.
It's close to the Batmobile as we're going to get in a production vehicle.
He's had a number of Corvettes over the years. He's brought the E-Ray out a number of times. Right. So really just enjoying all the host of the C8 family.
I mean, why not, right? I mean, I'm sure he's got the denim shorts and the New Balances to go with it, so why trade in the apparel when you've got all the cars?
And here's a quick look at the timing and scoring here at the tail end of the track battle. We've got plenty more track battle coverage coming up tomorrow and Sunday, especially with the podium sprint live on Racer Network at 1:30 on Sunday afternoon. But Ernestus Puzelis at the top in Unlimited in this session. Of course, Brad Perkins making his return to track mod competition. Been a couple of years since we've seen him. He was runner-up in 2024. Last year took the year off to kind of recalibrate, build the car again, and he is right to the top of the board here in Heat 2.
Yeah, I mean, some crazy times going in. Brad Perkins, 136.848, looking really good and super consistent. I mean, that was his last time, his best time, sitting on 4 laps in the session. So getting a good amount of seat time, not the most out of everybody, but 4 laps is all he needed to put down a fantastic time this early on in the event.
So Group A here will be wrapping up in just a moment. Of course, our first fully covered action of the day will be the Gridlife Rush Series qualifying. Of course, we've got 3 wheel-to-wheel race series here this weekend. The Gridlife Rush Series, Eibach Gridlife Touring Cup, and Gridlife GT. The big story in GLGT we'll talk about later, a spec tire here for the season, courtesy of Toyo. They've got great contingency program this year, which all the drivers are really excited to take advantage of.
It's really cool to see the development of wheel-to-wheel racing within Gridlife. It wasn't all that long ago where that wasn't a thing, and it was a big move. It was a big question mark. Can Gridlife, can this Motorsports Festival make the jump into wheel-wheel? How's it going to go? How's the regulations going to go? And it went fantastic.
Well, Track Battle Group A is complete. It'll be Gridlife Rush Series qualifying up next right after this. What's the name? Gridlife, South Carolina, the first round of the 2026 competition season. And the Gridlife Rush Series begins their season as well. 44 cars, a series record here at Carolina Motorsports Park, is about ready to go out on track and qualify for the first of 4 races here this weekend. Kyle Heyer joined by Jacob Gettens. Jacob, last year, the opening couple of rounds of the Rush Series Championship were dominated by one driver, and that was Ryan Leach.
Yeah, an incredible season and one that's going to be talked about for a long time. And yeah, just an amazing driver in this spec series.
Yeah, of course, Jackson Lambros was down and caught up with Ryan Leach before his qualifying.
He started his season in an MX-5 on the streets of St. Pete. He starts his Gridlife Championship back in a Rush SR. Talk to me about how good it feels to be back here with 44 cars here this opening round.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I think this is the biggest field yet at CMP. I am super excited to be back in a Rush car. It just feels like home, you know. The MX-5 is all new to me, so still trying to figure it out, but we're learning. So it's getting better and better with that every weekend, but super excited to be back at Gridlife. To me, this is the best place in motorsports. So yeah, super happy.
A lot of the production guys have talked about how loose it is out track right now. You've had a couple of sessions to test the water. How's the track surface feeling for you so far?
It's slick for sure. Yesterday was really windy, so there was a lot of dust blowing on the track, and it's just super, super hot out, so it's greasy. And then we got the drifters out there, so there's a lot of rubber being put off line, so you really got to stay on line. Made some adjustments to kind of soften the car up a little bit so we can get some grip. But yeah, it's going to be a tough qualifying with all the cars out there, just trying to find some space. But I think we got a plan and we'll make it happen.
We appreciate the time. Best of luck to you guys this weekend, Ryan.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
He started with 12 wins in a row last season. He's looking to carry that momentum into 26, guys.
Thanks, Jackson. Yeah, he started off so hot last year. 12 wins in the first 12 races, and it cooled off a little bit throughout the summer, but he's still an existential threat to everybody here. The field is stacked with Rush entrants. We've got James French here, who's got a whole host of professional racing history. Ayrton Grimm double dutying again at Eibach GLTC and in the Rush Series. Bryce Mersberger's here, won a couple of races at Audubon Country Club, Mid-Ohio. Jalen Batley is also back. So a lot of familiar faces here in this paddock, and some new drivers as well. Anthony Magagnoli out of Rochester, New York, where I hail from, is here making his first start in the Rush Series. As we get ready to roll here in just a couple of moments, look at the Salt's grid, just absolutely stacked full of cars.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. I think placement on track is going to be very, very key here for a couple of reasons. One, they talked about the dust rolling in, the wind coming across. I think actually being a little bit further back in the pack, it's a bit of a gamble, but I think it can pay off for a lot of these drivers. By being further back, you're hoping that all the other competitors are able to blow off the racing line, especially with the way that these cars are built aero-wise. If you can get everyone else to clear the track for you and really start to see where people are getting a bit squirrely and play with that, you're going to be able to pick up a lot of time. Now, the downside with that is, especially with this many cars, especially with turn 1 coming up so quick, there's a solid chance we're going to see some yellow flags even in this session. So being further back, that's the downside with it. Is somebody gets a little bit too wild out in front of you, you may be wasting a lot of crucial laps before you actually able to put down a good time.
Yeah, I mean, 44 cars at a track that's about 2.25 miles. Just getting a clean lap will be a challenge here. The session is not crazy long, so just find some clear space. If you have someone that is near you in pace, try to be around them. You don't want to be doing unpredictable things either. So again, this first race, I always say the first race is qualifying, because if you have a poor qualifying effort, it makes the rest of your weekend real tough.
Yeah, and these cars are very slippery when it comes to their actual aero package. There's some decent downforce that they're coming with, so you can find a couple of drivers if you can get into the right spot and you can have them punch a hole for you, especially with some of these long straightaways. I mean, they're spec horsepower. The cars are spec'd all out. You can play with a few different adjustments, but overall, if you can get in and catch a decent slipstream, you may be able to slingshot into a few corners. There's going to be a lot of strategy. There's going to be a lot of fun for these drivers in trying different things, whether that is trying to catch a slipstream, trying to find yourself into a nice pack, or just getting that fresh, clean, open air and allowing the aero to do its work.
Certainly. We're just waiting for a cleanup on the course right now, and we'll get cars out on track. And Again, these Rush SR cars, if you're not familiar with them, built by the Rush Auto Works group out of Houston, Texas. And these have a GSX motorcycle engine, a 1-liter 4-cylinder engine. They're chain drive, so they don't have adjustable gearing beyond just changing the teeth on a sprocket. And they've got a great top speed. They only weigh about 1,250 pounds, so they're extremely lightweight, about 150-ish horsepower. And you know, they look like they would be a little bit twitchy because they've got such a short wheelbase, but they have so much control on and above the limit.
Yeah, you would think that considering what they look like, but seeing the way, especially last year in Laguna, seeing the way that they can really sling it into a corner. I mean, the car seems to be talking to the drivers a lot. Their driving position is obviously very, very central in the car. The weight in the back, it just allows them to find that grip and feel that edge very, very quickly. And you'll see even in practice, they're going to throw down pretty hard, pretty quick. Even on the initial lap going out, you'll catch them trying to find the edges of grip with it, feeling where the track grip is on and off. But once we get into qualifying, it's going to get wild.
All right, before we get cars on the racetrack, we'll take another opportunity. Step away. We'll be right back.
Tire Rack. We test tires to provide you with truth, transparency, and unbiased recommendations. We stock over 1 million tires to ensure we have what you need. We're Tire Rack. We work hard to ship your tires fast and free. We offer convenient installation options to keep you moving forward. We do all this for one reason. Tires matter. TireRack.com, official tire retailer of Gridlife.
When we modify our cars, we do it to feel a greater connection, a more responsive feel between ourselves and the road.
Back here at GridLife South Carolina. GridLife Rush Series on track now for their qualifying session here, and 44-car grid getting set for their first race, which will be tomorrow morning. Kyle Heyer joined by Jacob Gettens, and Jacob, this is all about getting your sort figured out here. You might roll off the pit lane roughly sorted where you're going to be on speed, but we all know everyone's got a different strategy to how they approach going fast for one lap.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Practice, it seemed all good. Well, I took a walk through the paddock a little bit earlier today. I wasn't finding bits and bobs and bits of aero everywhere, so that's always a good indication. You can already see the pack trying to find their pace, trying to figure out where they want to sit. Some drivers wanting, maybe a little bit closer, some of them wanting to stretch things out, so it's going to be interesting. It's going to happen really, really fast. We're going to keep our eyes on timing and do our best to keep you up to date on all these scores, but they're going to start flying in here real fast.
Yeah, on their warm-up lap now, and so it'll be about 1 minute and 40 seconds after they cross the start-finish line. Look at all the tire warming going on right now on the back straightaway. That's that run from turn 8 to turn 9, which is this, actually that's the run, out of 7 down to turn 8, which is this kind of fast right-hander at the end of the lap. You go downhill and then sort of bottom out and turn right, and then it's that long shoot down to 10.
It's a lot of compression, especially on cars that run this low as well, so you do have to be a little bit careful about bottoming the car out and then potentially losing, your entire mechanical grip at that point. So it's a tough corner. It's a scary corner, once again, especially in a car that's fairly aero dependent. on making sure that it's able to stay on track. This is another part that's going to be interesting as well. We're having cloud cover kind of inconsistent. You can tell by it. It's not nighttime. There's no storm coming, but you can tell just the difference in the lighting conditions. That can play a little bit havoc with the driver, as well as track temps. It's fairly hot out here. We're sitting around 90 degrees, but it can drop down to about 70 in the shade, and that can make all the difference in the amount of traction you can make.
Yeah, and certainly visibility as well. When you got all this dust and debris blowing around it, especially if you got a scratched up visor. This is race one, so you got to have a nice fresh visor here because it just makes seeing very difficult, especially as the sun gets lower in the sky here this afternoon. Starting our flying laps here for the GRIDLIFE Rush Series under the start gantry and around this 2.25 mile lap. And a whole host of new names and liveries to get used to. That's Bryce Mersberger in the red and white car right there, the 114, as we pass just over the top. A little wiggle there on the curb, chasing Ryan Leach, 2025 champion.
Yeah, Ryan Leach catching a little bit of brake lock there going into turn one. So already testing the limits on the first qualifying lap, which is, I mean, I wouldn't expect anything less from him. He's not going to waste any time that he's got on track. A lot of these drivers know, especially the experienced ones, that track time can be limited. Oh, stepping it out just a little bit. There we go. This is finding the limit and finding that slip angle coming through these corners. And yeah, these times are going to come in real fast. And I'm excited. I'm excited. Let's get this going.
And we're going to see these drop pretty quick here because this first lap, they actually roll past the start-finish line as they come out of the grid. So this minute 43 we're seeing for Bourne there, that's not representative. At 141, we're getting a little closer. We should see in the 40s, maybe even a little quicker than that here as times and scores come across the board. Again, the 44 car grid, we talked about some of the favorites. Sam Reed as well, the number 255 car. He's going to be a threat, but new livery also for Leach, so we're looking for a different color car. You had a kind of a doppelganger, kind of white and black sort of half paint scheme last year, but into turn 12 now.
Yeah, it's going to be fun updating all of our mental notes to keep track of the cars, and for everybody watching at home as well. Yeah, keep track of the numbers. Feel free to check in on timing, and we'll see what the times look like here on that maiden lap for Leach. He should be coming across the line here very shortly.
Yeah, so rolling up out of the turn 14, right up onto the curbing and across the stripe. Look at all the rubber all over the racetrack. We've had a couple of sessions of full course drift as well, kind of prime our surface here. Across the stripe, we'll see what the 56 does right to the top. 139.690. Mersberger slots into second place, and a full course yellow. Wow. To slow us down here right after this first lap.
And that's what we called out at the beginning of this. With that many drivers, that many variables on this track, a yellow is something you basically have to put into your run plan. Yeah, I mean, honestly, a few of them. There's qualifying session's not that long. It might feel like forever for some people, but you honestly want to put into your run plan that you're going to be under caution for a few of them. And when this gets lifted, might be the make or break difference for some of the drivers in qualifying right now. If you're coming in and let's say that you're sitting maybe on 12, or sorry, sitting at corner 12, this gets lifted, you can get some speed coming back even through 14 into the straight. That might be enough to catch a flyer and be able to get a good lap time in.
Yeah, and careful here, a couple cars side by side. Remember the rules here with full course yellow. It looks like they might actually be bringing out a black. So a black flag again here in Grid Life, as with many other series, means that all cars shall return to the pit lane. Typically it's to go pick up a car that's somewhere off track, whether it be in a gravel trap or off in the weeds somewhere. So they'll bring cars back down to the pit lane. If we can, we try to keep them on course, circulating behind the safety car, but sometimes it just makes more sense to go send out the trucks.
Yeah, we'll hopefully get some eyes here on whatever the incident was. Hopefully nothing too bad, just some first race jitters as we've all got. Ooh, we've got a lot of aero out there.
Yeah, there's some body work out there, and the body work on these cars, and it looks like it might have just come off the car.
Yeah.
And so how it works here, it just basically clasps on, and there's 3 or 4 different body panels, and this is designed to give easy access to the car mechanically. And if the clasps aren't shut quite right, you got a lot of air going under the car on the approach to the kink here, so it likely just blew right off the car like a sail in the wind.
It looks like that's going to be the body of Adam Spence, I believe, the car 60. So yeah, he's sitting way back in the pack, over 2 minutes. It probably didn't even get through. Somebody on the crew is going to be getting fun talking to about tightening clasps, that's for sure.
And it's tough. I mean, it could have also started from a little bit of body damage as well. If you just get into the back of someone, it can kind of unsettle those things. But either way, it's a big piece of debris. Don't want that on the course. The pit lane, by the way, is full. I've never seen that here at CMP. That's cool.
It's neat. It's neat. for everybody in attendance here, it is incredible to see the clusters of Rush cars. You got a few drivers that are paddocked kind of separate, some more independent teams. Then you've got some larger groups, if you will, all set up and all parked together. But yeah, incredible little cars. It's so cool to see them with all the bodywork off, as we're more than likely going to see at least one driver here with the majority of their bodywork off. They're so compact. It's so great.
This is like trying to get the sleeping bag back in after, like you can't quite fit it in. You're like, why don't they make it just a little bit bigger?
Oh man, the pain that most people here are going to feel on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, again, the most campers we've ever seen, we packed them in like sardines over there. As the bodywork, thankfully, it's fairly lightweight, going to go in the back of the pickup there, and we should be back underway in just a moment's time.
Yeah, it's I had the pleasure of being here for year one. The difference is incredible.
Well, there's the rest of the car and Adam Spence. So bodywork came off and something else must have, I don't know if it undid the electrical connector or whoever, who knows.
Yeah, it's either that or he's just admiring the beautiful grasswork here at Carolina Motorsport Park.
And with the 60 needing a rollback, we're going to step away, let the safety team take care of this. We'll be right back with more Rush qualifying coverage right after this.
Every day, you trust your car with the things you care about most. At FCP Euro, we deliver you quality European car parts without compromise. What drives you is what drives us. We're driven by quality, researched and curated. Every part earns its place on our shelves. If we wouldn't put it on our cars, we won't sell it to you. Driven by trust and expertise, obsessed with the details, offering the right parts, guidance, and support when you need it most. We're driven by you, keeping your European cars on the road for the last 40 years. Head to fcpeuro.com to shop quality European car parts and get 5% off your first order over $149.
And welcome back to GridLife South Carolina under a black flag condition here at the moment for the GridLife Rush Series qualifying session for Adam Spence on the backside of the racetrack. Just a big piece of debris came off that race car and needed to get the car on the rollback as well. So should get the cars back on the road for a few more laps, but you know, we talked about the possibility of having session stoppages, and this is going to shorten your opportunity to get a nice clean lap. There was one good fresh one, but now you might only get one more.
I think the hard part now too is for a lot of the younger drivers too, you might get into a bit of a panic mentality of going, oh man, we're black flagged for this long period of time. I'm sitting in the car, it's getting hot, and you just hope there's no desperation going, are we getting going here?
Yeah, that's the celebratory, we're starting engines here.
Oh,
so
perfect.
That means
face shield down.
Yep.
Oh, I'm learning.
And cars are already rolling. Look how quick they're going too. So off and away, GridLife Rush Series qualifying continues here. And it was Ryan Leach that went right to the top of the board. But Bryce Mersberger, did you notice him lingering behind in that red and white car? He was really solid, really came into his own in the late part of the season.
Yeah. And I was wondering what was going to do better, fresh air or having someone punch it for you. Mersberger right behind him, like, I mean, what are we looking at here time-wise? Yeah, I mean 1/10. So it's really not bad. I think Merceberger might have been able to pick up a little bit more speed through a slipstream, but that's hard to say. I'm not going to tell him how to do his job, and he doesn't tell me how to do mine, so we're in a good spot.
Yeah, certainly. Sean Childress is a name that I believe is new to the Rush Series Championship. It sits third right now on the timing and scoring. And then Trip Stout, Mitchell Cooper, Jason Ayler, and then Anderson, Bourne, Jalen Batley, Ben Carroll, the rest of your top 10. We talked about the number of drivers that we are familiar with returning to the championship, but there's a number of new drivers that are back or that are joining us and have already proven themselves on this opening lap.
Yeah, and it's such a cool way to get into this type of racing. I mean, a ready-to-go vehicle that requires, on the grand scheme of things, minimal maintenance, but a lot of opportunity to find your own way to get just small advantages here and there. That's what these cars are all about. It very much rewards bold driving. It does punish a lot of sloppiness. That's for sure. There's no hiding in these Rush cars.
Yeah, certainly
for sure.
not. 44 cars have taken lap time, so every single one that is registered has made a lap. Interesting to note that the very last car in line, Andy Vogel, a driver that we've seen in our GridLife TrackBattle Championship. He's a past Street GT champion. Ran Rush Series last year. Was always top 3. Just that victory has been elusive.
Yeah.
And this is not a representative lap time here at 2:41. Just curious to see if he will get to land back in this top 10 at some point.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if he's able to. A driver that's kind of always a bridesmaid, never a bride, looking for that win. But it'll happen. It'll happen at some point in time. Just the stars will align, the track will come in at the right moment. And I was talking to some drivers last night. We were talking about what percentage does luck play in being a top-level race car driver. Some are arguing 50, some 60, but all of them were well into the double digits.
Yeah, and here's Brett DiGiacomo. Right now, P34, driver hoping to climb the standings there a little bit. Easy to spot this car, that sort of teal and battleship gray, number 12. Persistent. He's had some good runs here in the past, but definitely would like to jump up the order. Same with James French down in 29th.
Yeah.
So we definitely got the first half of the field up through the timing and scoring properly with a fast lap. I don't know that the second half really got to complete that quick one.
I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Yeah, French had some incredible battles back in Laguna. Some amazing moments there. So another driver you expect to be up into the top 10, well into that section. I just think they would have been caught out, probably by the yellow for sure, but definitely the black bringing everybody back in.
Yeah, but here's your challenge down the outside of another car. That is number 42 of Devin Markert. So having to make an outside pass in turn 12. We've got trouble, by the way, at turn 12. This car off there on corner entry.
And waving yellow.
And another here at the exit of 14 right in front of us there. So a couple cars stalling. See James French getting out of the throttle. DiGiacomo is going to go right on by. And with a couple cars stopped, could we get another full course yellow?
Could be.
Get your lap in. And Race Control's going to do everything they can to give everyone a chance. Look at DiGiacomo, P3.
Yeah. I knew he'd pick up that time. Full course yellow. There it is. Maybe giving him just a moment off the racing line in 14, so it's not in a super dangerous spot, but there's definitely better places to be.
Yeah, so again, everyone is going to try to complete their laps best they can. Ryerson Whistle to the top of the board. I think his first event was Laguna Seca last year. And a really impressive drive by 0.02 of a second over season champion from 2025, Ryan Leach.
And it shows you just how tight this racing really is. But yeah, thankfully, Ryerson Whistle getting that lap in. And based on our timing, he's sitting in a great spot right now to take Q1.
Yeah, I mean, again, sometimes you're lucky, sometimes you're good. Ryerson Whistle might be both.
I was going to say, it's better to be both. That is for sure.
Yeah, and again, with the schedule as tight as it is, it's going to be a challenge to get more time after this. I think on schedule puts the next series. Well, I guess they have until 4:55 on my schedule here, so we might get one more go.
Yeah, but I mean, 3 competitive laps to do qualifying. That's tough. That's not the way that a lot of these drivers want to go into this weekend, but you do everything, you prep the cars, you hope everything goes well, and it's sometimes it just doesn't go the way you want it to.
Yeah, there was a test day on Thursday, and a number of drivers took advantage of that. But again, this is round 1, race 1 Gremlins, right? And you'd rather have them now than, you'd rather have them in practice than now, but you'd rather have them now than in the race, right? The races are what's going to pay the points out. So there's another black flag that can bring the cars back in, and need to get a little bit of momentum here just the inertia to get going is holding us up here a little bit. But this is a huge field. We have to remember how hard it is to get 44 people to all coordinate this ballet in the first session of the weekend effectively.
Yeah, I was just looking to which drivers were getting pulled in and at the head of the pack. So JD Kroll is going to be leading this out. So he's sitting in a really advantageous spot considering he's 43rd overall. And just that alone might be, you know, just catching the flag at the right time, maybe bailing out of your lap, knowing you're going to be the first one in line. There may be a strategy in that as well. You know, seeing that flag and going, hey, now I'm the lucky driver. Now I'm heading the pack. I'm going to be able to dictate how this plays out for everybody behind me.
I'll stick them all back in the queue again. And also note that Anthony Magagnoli, the driver I mentioned, new to Rush, new to Grid Life, P6.
Yeah.
Good start.
Not a bad spot at all. I mean, our top 10 is an eclectic mix of both experienced and new drivers, which to me, that's what I want. I love seeing drivers make their way up, especially drivers coming in from other motorsports, maybe first time in Rush. Yeah, it's a great mix, but still a lot of drivers that looks like never really even got a chance to get into the throttle. What am I looking at here? Still in the 2-minute mark from 34. So 11 drivers total haven't even put down a representative lap.
Yeah, the other thing to note is why is this grid like this? Why is it 44 cars sold out field here at CMP? Well, these are great value propositions if you're looking to get a wheel-to-wheel race car that's easy to work on. It's relatively inexpensive for the car. It's under $50,000, and you have a done race car. Right. I mean, it's these days it takes a lot more than that to get a done race car in any other format. So, they're relatively easy to drive. They've got a lot of cool gizmos on them. They've got a new partnership, of course, with Fire Laps, which we're not going to have on the broadcast today as we work through some technical things on my side here. But they've got all this data built into these cars, and it can make you a better driver. And they have such high performance. These are some of the fastest cars here this weekend with 150 horsepower.
Yeah, and for a lot of drivers, it's your first experience with some really fun downforce with a car that is going to be that twitchy, as well as maybe even just sitting that low to the ground for the first time. That alone can be just mind-boggling because the further down you're sitting, the faster the car feels. And these are very, very quick cars we're seeing with a 139.6.
The number 35 Baby Rex there, a little bit of an imitation of Rexy. While we're getting the car on the hook again, we'll take another opportunity to step away. We'll be right back with more Rush qualifying from Grid Life, South Carolina.
You boys up for a challenge? How about this? Anything you can do, I can do faster. Okay, bro. I'm gnarlier than you. I get more sideways. I'm louder. Much louder. I get wilder than you. You sure about that, bro?
Harder. Slicker. Cooler. Tougher. Let's go.
So what you got?
the action continues at GridLife South Carolina. The GridLife Rush Series back on track again after a second session stoppage due to a couple of cars finding their way off course, but we're back out again. We've just got about 7 minutes left here in this session, and Jacob, this is going to be tough. And about half the field's gotten good times, the other half still has work to do here. Yeah, there's still a lot more representative lapping to go for about half the grid, and it looked like that was the 808 car of Gabriel Nitre. Hopefully I got the name all right. That was finding their way onto the hook of one of our beautiful tow rigs here. Yeah, so getting back on the hook, come back to the paddock and get to work to get it either back out in this session or back out for race 1 tomorrow morning. Looks like Devin Markert in that number 42 doesn't have a time recorded. I did see that car out there, so I wonder if it had a time deleted perhaps. Oh, could be. And knocked them down to the bottom of the order. And a train of cars coming down here into turn 14. One of those is the number 19. I believe that is Kelsey Anderson in the 2024 Rush SR. Of course, Kelsey in that number 19. Tracking into turn 1 there. It looks like Jalen Batley. Is that the 88 in the yellow and gold color scheme? Believe so, yeah. Yeah, that's a new livery for Jalen here this year. And there is, of course, Kelsey Anderson using a little bit of the curbing at the exit of turn 3. That bird's got to move. Yep. Can't park there. No, wildlife is being wild out here. So 88, beautiful livery. Big fan of that. That is wicked cool. And Jalen had some really good runs last year in a couple of rounds. And again, at Audubon Country Club was one of a Mid-Ohio sports car course. And then even at Laguna Seca just had a really nice set of runs. But again, unfortunately, a lot of those didn't count for the championship because they weren't points rounds. Last year, there was only a 6-round championship out of the 9 GridLife events. And this year, again, it is a 6-round championship, but every event this year will count. So hopefully he can parlay some of the success that he had last year into the points-paying events this season. Just following along to see if there was a timing update. It looks like Jalen up to 15th with a 141, 917. So still a little bit of work to do, but finding the edge of the track. I was going to say, almost dropped off the edge there. Had the flat earthers foaming at the mouth there. Almost fell off the world. So trips down in the number 1 up to P6. The 146.16. What was that flapping there? Did you catch that? It looks like you see that? That looks like a GoPro or a camera of some kind getting flung back in towards the car. Yeah. It was a little interesting. Yeah. Some active aero. I suppose so. I mean, these drivers get extremely creative. Change at the top, Ryan Leach, P1, Mersberger, and Jalen Batley to P3, knocks Whistle down to 4th. Wow, that was a big change up there. But yeah, Ryerson Whistle is going to have to pick up the game a little bit, dropping 2/10 behind. But yeah, Leach, as we expected, now finding the pace. Andy Volkel finally got a decent lap in there, P4 at a 139.559. The times are swapping. Grimm now up into 4th, 139.486. Paul Duff, new to the Rush Series here this year, I believe. Hosey now up into 3rd. These were our back markers that didn't get their lap in, are finally finding the fresh air, finally able to get back in. Yeah, Childress up into 9th, Anderson into 10th, rounding out. Yeah, 140, holding that time down. Yeah, these times they're not tumbling, but we are getting some big shuffles as drivers now. Oh, big bounce there. Number 8 car of Blair Hosey. And this is what I'm talking about with the suspension on these cars. You would think that they're extremely stiff and that, the cars wouldn't be super compliant because they're these very lightweight sports racer type cars, but you can see how compliant it is over the curbing. You can get pretty aggressive. It's just your ride height that you're concerned about on the curbs here, especially the exit curbs that are just so rough. Well, and because of just the dust blowing on this otherwise beautiful surface, the drivers are softening the suspension up a lot just to be able to have a bit more wiggle room. And the upside with having a soft suspension like that is you can be a bit more aggressive on the curbs. You can have a little bit more fun. You can catch that apex just a little bit tighter because you know you're going to have the travel in it. And you can see how soft the suspension is, grinding a little bit of that front wing down. I also wonder, with the sparks there on the dive into turn 12, if he's running a slightly lower tire pressure. Could be. Perhaps to try to gain some mechanical grip, get the tire to squish a little more. Yep. And when you do that, you tend to drop the front end of the car to where you're scraping. And as the tires heat up, the air pressure builds and you get a little bit more lift. Look at that dive. Oh, man, getting squirrely under braking. I think it's a 34 car just out in front of Andy Volkel. Yeah. And so, again, Volkel just had such a great season. It just, again, as you said, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. But Cooper making that jump up into 9th. Look at Leach now taking over. Oh. That's trouble for the 511, unfortunately. And looked like they got rolling again, though, which is good news.
This top 10 is shifting around like crazy, so just shows the development of the track, as well as now we've had, you know, knock on wood, some good running, some fresh air. As I say that, the yellow comes out.
I think it was for the car that was there earlier.
Okay.
So if they're limping around. We see a little bit of lateral sliding in. A big moment there for one of the Rush of the Carolinas cars.
Drift track is on the other side.
They saved it, though. Nicely done.
Yeah, that's tough. You're not going to pick up a lot of time that way, but you are going to save yourself from doing some body work a little bit later on.
Yeah. So you see that yellow in Sector 1. All that means for qualifying, just take note of that. You cannot pass another vehicle under a local yellow flag. Of course, if we need to go full course yellow, you'll likely see 2 waving yellow flags at each of the corner stations. But a pretty big slip and slide there. How about these super tight shots? I'm just in love with being able to see the pupils of these drivers headed down the backstretch. That was the 26 car, I believe.
Sean Childress sitting in 12th right now on a 1:40.253, so a little bit more to do, but
oh man, you see it walking it out to the edge of the road there. The whole back section is so much like that. It's so flat. You have no camber to lean on, and you're just hanging the rear end out, lighten up those rear tires.
Yeah, I mean, could have taken the line a little bit wider through there, but as you said, with maybe softer suspension, maybe lower tire pressure, it's tough to tell when they're rolling how low the tire pressure is. You can see something. Whoa! Oh my gosh!
Yeah, really fighting the wheel there, and I think that's fighting it enough that it'll impact your lap time and your drive off the corner. You can really hustle these cars around, but at a certain point, you're sort of detracting from your corner exit performance.
Yeah, didn't see any sparking going on, so maybe not running a super low. So maybe that car is a bit tight. Suspension's maybe a bit stiffer, and that's what's causing the car to walk out like that. So I noticed with some of the other competitors in front, they were scraping on brakes, not so much for the 26.
So again, it was Sector 1 that had that yellow at turn 3, and it looks like it might have been cleared over there. So we might be able to continue. Looks like all the yellows are withdrawn, so that's good news for us. As looks like that's James French there in the black and blue car. I guess they're all black and blue. The middle of the 3.
Yeah.
And that's Blair Hosey in behind and Andy Vogel ahead.
Yeah, so some of our top competitors now finding the pack. Be interesting to see how they play this. If they're going to stick in line, go for that draft, or if they're going to start doing a little bit more. As I say that, now we get a pass underway.
Oh, in the kink, too. This is a tough pass to make.
Fighting it.
Wow, look at that.
Wow.
That's on the limit through the kink. We talked about it in the track preview. That is a flat-out corner almost. It's a throttle crack in a lot of cars. I'm not sure in a rush. It might be flat out in a rush, but certainly not side by side.
Well, James French is going to find out for you. That is squirrely. That is, man, that's understeer to oversteer. And, I'm just stoked he was able to hold on to it.
He did a nice job there. And Blair Hosey watched all that out through the Halo safety system there. And now right in line behind that number 191.
Interesting to see Ryerson Whistle now all the way down in 7th, holding the top spot there for quite a few laps. And now, having to really, really fight back, now dropping into 8th.
And you see now why French didn't want to back out, went up to 6th, improved his best lap.
Yeah, and you know what, though? He's got more in it. If he can get some clean air, if you can do that, he would have lost it probably close to, I want to say a 10th under braking through that section. I think now he's got the fresh air. He might be able to even pick up a bit more time.
Yeah, jumping the curbs there big time through 5, 6, and 7. And see, again, it's so fun to watch these cars because, you know, they act like they have so much more mass than they actually do. You can really watch the mechanical weight transfer. And that's why they're so intuitive to drive, is you can feel that weight, Blair, right on the heels of James French into turn 8 as the checkered flies on the front straightaway. So drivers on their laps can complete them, but everyone coming back to the checkers now is done qualifying.
It'll be interesting to watch that start finish now and see if we get any drivers blowing through that first turn. As you said, if you've got this crazy competitive lap on, especially now as you're seeing the checker, if you're on a flyer, this is it. This is your last shot. So we might see or hear some drivers going a little bit deeper in there. And there is Leach in first right now, the number 56 car with Hosey following in a tight second, not too far off the pace, less than a 10th between them.
That's such a cool shot here as they come around turns 12 and 13 back to the stripe. They were hustling pretty hard, and I think, they've knocked off there. And Leach, French backs out. Hosey's going to continue. I don't know that was coordinated as smoothly as they wanted. It looked like Blair might have kept going.
Yeah, I think bailing out of the lap at this point, catching that checker, and a very newsworthy, let's say, rush qualifying now coming to a close.
Yeah, it was a little shaky to start there, but once we got moving.
Yeah, it's like it's first day back on the bike. That's what it is, right?
Yeah.
You're not hitting the big jumps the first day you're back on the bike. You're just happy to ride around the block and not come back with a bloody knee. And a couple of drivers missing some aero, having some mechanicals, but for the vast majority of the pack, they were able to put in a pretty good time outside of Adam Spence, who lost that big chunk of the rear of the car early on.
Let's have a look here at our rush qualifying. There's a driver that we're missing some data for, clearly. And Andy Vogel is not in a Corvette. But Ryan Leach in that number 56 at the top of the board, a 138.276. Then Blair Hosey, Bryce Mersberger, Jalen Batley, and Ayrton Grimm snuck up into the top 5. I didn't see that.
Yeah, I think there was some other action going on, and we were focused over there, but Ayrton Grimm doing a great job. James French taking 6th. Andy Vogel, 7th. Corvette, maybe that's why.
No, yeah. So to preface, we've got some new data feeding in, but for drivers that are running in multiple classes, got to tweak that logic there just a little bit. Mitchell Cooper in 10th, Trip Stout, Childress, Anderson, Isaac Nolan, new to Rush here, Devin Markert, Melnick, Bagignoli, Bourne, and Ethan Hardesty towards the tail end of the top 20. And as we look down the rest of the order here, just impressed that we did get enough green to get everybody a couple of laps and had a pretty fun battle there at the top of the order.
Yeah, it was good. And you can see as we start to run through the rest of these drivers how tight the times really are. Big packs, big sections there in the 149. Jason Oler, Dixon, Davenport, Nick, Billingsley, Max Kraus, Matt Wilson, Lee Kellert, Samuel Reed, Ben Carroll, Jeremy Boyson, Jared Anderson rounding out just before we get to our top 30.
Yeah, and of course, there's still more pages. It is a big field here. Down 30th down to 39, Jeff Hardesty there. Returning here, AJ Campo back in the number 227. Mentioned Kelsey Anderson. Jake Sanders is back once more, a driver we saw plenty last season. And then, of course, Adam Spence, JD Kroll, just having some unfortunate moments here in qualifying, but that's going to do it for GridLife Rush Series qualifying. Let's have a look at the highlights here, Jacob. It got pretty entertaining with some big moments.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I wasn't sure how things were going to go right off the bat as we see the drivers just getting things rubbered in, finding that pace, but the wheel-to-wheel to action, I mean, this is just qualifying, gents, but the wheel-to-wheel to action started off pretty early on as we found drivers just trying to figure out the pace, find their spot in the pack, and just try to put it in, but it was not easy due to those early black flags. We see that bodywork sitting in and a couple of drivers getting the toe of shame back to the pits.
Yeah, a number of drivers having some issues here. Hopefully they'll get that sorted. But once we got the green flag again, it got pretty exciting. We saw a couple of cars go for a little bit of a loop there. The 511 went for a bit of a ride. And the rest of the field getting some better laps in. Look there at Sam Reed in the 256. And here comes James French, that big moment through the kink.
Oh,
almost lost it there at the exit.
Yeah, probably could have put down an even better time if it wasn't for that bit of shake under braking.
And right at the tail end of the session, Blair Hosey getting by James French, but it'll be it'll be Ryan Leach on the pole. GridLife Rush Series qualifying is complete from GridLife, South Carolina.
There's a moment behind the wheel of what I've built, where power overrides gravity, and I hit that zero moment. Zero doubts, zero fear, zero competition. No rule or mold I can't break. And limits, absolutely zero. And there's enough zero sugar to get me there.
What's the name?
Gridlife South Carolina, the season opening event for 2026. And a notable change on the schedule from last year is the addition of Gridlife GT. This new series debuted at Gridlife Midwest last year in the month of June. We're back in April, and we've got a decent Gridlife GT field as this class continues to build event after event after event. You know, we're still working our way up, gathering interest in the series. But the big news coming into this event, Jacob, was the spec tire. Toyo Proxys are here, and a fantastic contingency offering here. Again, it scales with field size, but there is the potential for a driver to win all 4 races and earn $3,600 a weekend in Toyo Bucks tire credit.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think, honestly, like GT to me, it's a natural progression of where Gridlife is and where it's going. We're just getting bigger and bigger classes. The cars are getting faster. And what's really neat is seeing drivers starting off another lower speed series, as you will, or lower build, and then slowly getting up to the point where they're in a full GT class. And yeah, we're breeding the next generation of great drivers right here at Gridlife.
Yeah, so just getting our first flying laps underway here for Gridlife GT, and Christian Aranja early on is the fastest car, but we're going to see this change, I think, quite a bit here. You know, the other thing to note is that we've got great diversity here in this series. We've got a couple of Corvettes at the pointy end, but of course, we've got AJ Hartman's New Edge Ford Mustang, which is a really interesting car we'll talk more about later. Jordan Wisely and the KTM Tuners Hyundai Veloster N. That car sits 4th right now. Gary Wimble in a Corvette, Eric Jensen in an LS Swap FRS, Eric Meadows in a Corvette, Anthony Scafuto in a Chevy Camaro, then a C8 Corvette with Alex Pites, and an LS Swap, new to him, LS Swap for Chris DeLucia and a BMW M3.
Yeah, I love any class where you get such a vibrant spread of vehicles, front wheel, rear wheel. I mean, there's a lot of big American muscle here, let's be honest, but it doesn't mean that you're going to win, and it's definitely not a power over everything. I mean, just the braking, because of the weight of these vehicles, because of the power to weight ratio that we've got into this is just not a class where horsepower is going to win you every single race. It's going to be guts. It's going to be late braking. It's going to be crazy turn-ins, and it's stuff like this where you're hopping over the curb and you're trying to take a bite out of every bit of the track. As we take a look at that Corvette of Eric Meadows.
Yeah, and again, this car looks simple on the outside, but these guys have figured out the Corvette formula. Meadows is a race winner in Eibach GLTC last year, funnily enough, at Midwest Festival. But again, there was a horsepower cap put on Eibach GLTC, and the reasoning being the sandbox was really, really, really big. And it got challenging as the drivers kind of figure out the formulas to go fast. Just closing that sandbox makes a lot of sense. In GLTC, the cars were getting really heavy. They were getting very powerful. And there was desire for a higher powered series with, more grunt, more top end, a little bit more aero. So Gridlife GT was built to fill that gap, and a lot of the drivers with these V8 cars, especially the Corvettes, they found a home here, and they get to weigh a lot less. They get to make more power, have more aero. They've had a lot of fun in this transition.
I think it opens the door too to potentially some bigger names from other series coming over. There's a lot. This is a really, really neat class. It's one of the most exciting classes that we've got, and some of the craziest times.
Yeah, and this is the car I was talking about a minute ago, the New Edge Ford Mustang, AJ Hartman. This car is crazy. At first glance, it's got some carbon body panels. That's all fine and dandy. For those of you that watched last year as he eats the curb around the outside Alex Pites at turn 8, this car has the rear independent suspension off an S550 Mustang.
Okay.
The engine in the under the hood is the twin turbo 3.5 liter V6 out of a Ford F-150. And it's got a 6-speed gearbox, I think, out of a GT350.
Oh, perfect.
So it's just an amalgamation of all the Ford parts and pieces, and it is a really cool-looking race car. AJ does all of his own aero work as well. So he does his own aero development, his own molding for carbon and everything. So it really is a demonstration of what's possible here in this series when you build a car.
That's so cool. And that, I mean, that's somebody who deeply cares about competition and wants to build something that's truly unique and still be able to win on it. And to me, that truly is the heart of racing, is feeling like a bit of an underdog because it's just you and your friends and going out and doing that against some pretty crazy competitors. Like, home-built cars, to me, will always have a special place, even over some of the most expensive and ridiculous cars we've ever seen.
Yeah, AJ improves to a 141, 193, kicks out the rear end a little bit. But, you talk about the home built, the other part of this series that's really neat is it actually kind of aligns neatly with a couple of other homologated car classes you'll see in some pro racing categories. So a lot of those cars will drop right in, but you can build or buy. You kind of have two different paths here. Eric Jensen, this is an example of another builder. This car, another Eibach GLTC car from years past. He's made a lot of nice changes, including new headlights, which I'm stoked about for him. They look really nice. This is, again, a V8 swap FRS. Not a lot of FRS left in it. In fact, he's got a lot of work done to this thing under the hood.
And a mighty fine mustache to add to that.
Yes.
Love these driver shots.
Yeah, you see it there on the bottom of the screen there, the Toyo Proxes R. That's the spec tire. If it rains, any Toyo tire is allowed.
Okay.
But in the dry conditions, Toyo Proxes R is the tire that all these cars are on.
And a fantastic tire to go with. It's not like there is a detriment to running that tire. I'm sure most of these drivers were very, very excited when they heard.
Yeah, and I think it's also exciting because we have not had a wheel-to-wheel series, I guess with the exception of the GRIDLIFE Rush Series, but Eibach GLTC has always been a selective tire category.
Right.
This is the first time that we've had a multi-make but spec tire wheel-to-wheel class. So how does this change the formula? How does this change the math? It's going to be interesting to watch. And here's your previous Eibach GLTC champion, Matan Rosenberg, making this step. Vibrant performance on the car. Some big adjustments and changes, including that new livery.
Yeah, I love a spec tire because it really does. I mean, it's where the rubber meets the road. Ultimately, your tire is going to be the point that's going to make or break your entire drive. So it allows the drivers to maybe focus a little bit more on what they can get out of the tire as opposed to focusing on what tire they should be buying.
So Matan on the brakes down into turn 8. Says this car in this trim makes about 360 horsepower. That's about 100 more than it made in Eibach GLTC. And, what the other interesting thing to note is he's got a little bit of a drop of the tire there at the exit of the corner. He's also got another program going on this year in the SRO paddock as well, running with Hyundai.
Okay.
And the Elantra ends for Ricca Autosport. And he had his first debut at... that was back at Sonoma Raceway just a couple of weeks ago.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, why not mix it up? It looks like fuel cap is open. So, I mean, he's going to have a bit of an aero disadvantage there. That car not as slippery as it could be when it's out there looking thirsty.
Yeah, well, there's always something.
Always something to do.
Can't be perfect first run out.
No. Maybe this is him sandbagging.
Yeah, I love the headlight choice here, too. He's gone with those sort of Le Mans style, low profile, non-flip up headlights, which I think look really good on this car.
Yeah, I agree. There we're just peeking out that Hyundai just in the corner of that shot.
Across the stripe. He's going to go no improvement, but P2. Jordan Wisely right behind in that Hyundai Elantra N, or excuse me, Veloster N. The Elantra's running in street class for KTM.
Right. I will say, the Veloster, one of my favorite vehicles of all time, mostly because of the door selection. Having a big door on one side and a split door on the other. Always, it's a fascinating choice, but I think the uniqueness of cars is what drew me to them. The fact that you can do so many different things while still maintaining just 4 wheels on the track. But yeah, we'll see how the times start to tumble here. Our top 5 really haven't changed all that much in early running. Now we do have a bit more time still to go in this session, and we'll see if the drivers are able to really find the pace.
Yeah, you see him eat the curb there at turn 8. Again, that's not a turn that I typically would see drivers really hammering those things, but he seems comfortable with it. This is the same car that he's driven, just again, different trim, so he's really dialed in with it. And running through the kink, Eric Meadows picks up a spot over Wisely. And then on the brakes into turn 12. Such a slow, flat corner. You see him kicking out the rear just to get the rotation. And then into this turn 11, 12, 13 complex. There's that number 7, Jordan Wisely, KTM Tuners. And again, they were on the Toyo tires last year as well, so they didn't have to change much. I wonder if that gives them a little bit of a leg up, kind of having the history of the Toyo. They've got the notebook full.
Yeah, I mean, it's one less variable you've got to work with. And you can take a lot of the notes that you've already got. You understand how the tire comes into temp and how it holds, and especially with the temps that we're seeing here today and this weekend, just that alone is a bit of a leg up on the rest of the competition in a car that, you know, from first glance, you might like, you sure this is in the right class? But still very, very competitive.
Yeah, and Wisely does improve. It runs a little wide there at turn 1. I talked about that in the track preview, that sometimes you have to start braking before the start-finish line. So if you want to get a better lap, sometimes you just have to, you know, just say, screw it to the next lap. I'm going in deeper. And just every other lap is going to be your fast one.
Yeah, and I think that's all right. You know, you want to keep the temps down. You want to make sure that everything's in their operating window. So it's not, it's not the worst idea to throw in a heater, back out of it, check everything, shake it all down, and then just come back in on your next flyer.
Yeah, these Veloster N, this had quite the story last year at Road America. I think we might have covered it when we were at Laguna Seca, but they had a small incident that led to them kind of breaking some kind of rear suspension link, and they couldn't find the Hyundai N specific part. And so they went to a Tractor Supply and found something that was close enough and bolted it on the car and finished the weekend.
And sometimes that's what you got to do, right?
I mean, that's the grassroots grit that I love about Gridlife is, you know, and KTM Tuners, this is a long way from home. They're from California.
Yeah.
And, you know, whatever you can do to keep the car on the racetrack, you're going to do it.
There's always the old wives' tale of somebody at some point in time blowing up an LS and then taking it out of the rental vehicle, putting it in the car for the race weekend, and then swapping it back out. I feel like every racetrack's heard that story and someone has told it. But, yeah, to get back out there, you're going to do what you got to do.
Yeah, so there's Eric Jensen kicking the rear tires out again in the FRS. Again, a car that he's had for a really long time, very familiar with it. It's seen some changes over the years. It wasn't too long ago that he was running the stock differential in this car. I mean, it's, again, he's had it in a number of different trims. But,
there's been some big coming over from the drift world, as that is a bit more of my specialty, but there's been a lot of big progression in the rear suspension and being able to get a lot more stroke out of it. Traditionally, these cars are kind of known for not having a lot of stroke in the rear end, which can make it a bit limiting, a little bit more difficult to set up. But there's big progress in getting some very long travel in the rear end of these cars.
Yeah, a little wide run there off into turn 1. And, you know, again, Eric he's does a lot of the work on his own car. The other thing to note is the wheel bolt pattern on these cars is a 5x110. It's very difficult to get the wheels that you need for a wheel-to-wheel racing series for this car. So he's actually done a conversion to a 5x114. It's not a trivial conversion to do.
No.
But he has done that, so he has a much wider selection of wheels to get the right tires and fitment for this category.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. It's, I mean, 1x114.3 is pretty much the standard at this point, but a few other bolt patterns are out there, just not as many for that vehicle.
And weirdly, that's a Subaru size, the 5x110, and also shares it with the Toyota Corolla, interestingly enough, which I happen to have a Corolla and an FRS, so that works out for me.
Oh, all right.
So I don't interchange the wheels on them very often, but
you know the pain of the 110. Is what you're getting at.
Yeah, just what you get.
I think Ford had a 5x120 at one point as well.
Oh, gosh.
Why? Yeah. Can we not just agree on something, please?
Yeah. Wisely off into 12 in that number 7, the KTM Tuners Veloster. Still just digging through. Again, one of the lone, I think it is the only front-wheel drive car in Gridlife GT this weekend. And, you know, you talked about it earlier, that Gridlife GT, or, you know, this is, you know, on paper you would think GT, rear-wheel drive, you know, maybe it's a coupe.
Right.
An Eibach Gridlife Touring Cup, you're thinking, okay, maybe all-wheel drive, maybe front-wheel drive, maybe sedans, right?
Yeah.
Maybe hatchbacks. And so on paper, this car seems like it fits better in the other category, but this car makes a lot more power, even from factory, than is now allowed in Eibach GLTC. So this is actually where it fits.
We gotta draw the line somewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Again, just closing that sandbox just a little bit. No pickup that time, still at a 143.484.
Yeah, not too bad. 7th overall right now. DeLucia, I'm kind of shocked to see a little bit further back. How much running? Only just the 1 lap, so maybe something not going great for Chris.
Yeah, so again, this LS swap he's done in this car is brand new, and he's also got, I think it's an automatic transmission in there as well, an 8 HP. Is what he's got.
I could go on about those things forever.
Yeah. And he had some issues getting it kind of working right as of this week. So I think he's still sorting things out. He's also supported by KTM Tuners here this weekend. So is, by the way, Anthony Scafuto in the number 87 Camaros. They've got quite the paddock over there. But trouble.
The 8 HP might be the next big thing we see in transmissions. I know, once again, coming on the drifting side of things, a lot of drivers are swapping over them. They're easy to pull on and off the trailer because they're automatic. You can still do your clutch dumping. You can do your clutch work with it. You can still have a manual shifter with it. But also you can tune that transmission to shift automatically. And drivers are putting 800 to 900 horsepower through several, of drifting events on it, which is incredibly abusive to the drivetrain, and they're holding up. So, I don't want to get too far ahead of it, but if you're looking for an investment opportunity, grab yourself some 8 HPs and sit on them for a bit, because they are going to be going a hot ticket very soon.
Yeah, that's the other interesting note is, when I first joined GridLife, it was 2019, 2020. You could not, it was very difficult to look in the paddock and find an automatic transmission car.
Right.
It has now become, very commonplace, and automatics have gotten so good from factory that, drivers are not making transmission swaps anymore, or if they are, they're swapping to an automatic transmission because they shift so quickly, and, DCTs and sequentials can be so expensive that if you can figure out the logic of dropping in an auto, not that that's necessarily going to be any cheaper by the end of it.
No, but it's replicatable, and you can really set it up for the track and for what you want and for what you need when it comes even lap by lap. So, call it controversial, but there's some places where the automatic transmission makes the most sense.
Eric Meadows back on course, going to maybe get one more lap or two in here.
Real late on the brakes there.
And did go up into the greens, so that is an improvement up to, I don't know if he moved positions, but did improve on his lap.
Yeah, 142. It's not too bad there from Eric Meadows. Sitting on 10 laps. I believe that's our leader in lap counting right now. Just staying out there, just enjoying the sights and sounds. So looking very steady coming through this S-band. Able to put the power down, I believe now coming through 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll see it once again, very much loading up on the outside of that car.
Yeah, I think he's the only one on course at the moment, so we're going to get wrapped up here, have a look at the race or the qualifying results here for GridLife GT, and we'll get set for Eibach GridLife Touring Cup coming up in just a moment's time. Christian Aranja at the top of the board. It is 2 Corvettes. There he is, the number 57, populating there. Matan Rosenberg, AJ Hartman, Eric Jensen, and Gary Wimble, your top 5. Then Meadows, Wisely, Scafuto, Heitz, and Chris DeLucia. DeLucia did not really get a representative time here, Jacob.
Yeah, came out, looked like he shook down the car, and the shakedown did not go well, but timing pretty tight there, especially in our top 5 drivers, but I expect those times to continue to drop throughout the weekend as these drivers get a bit more time on track and really start to figure out all 14 of these beautiful turns.
Yeah, so with that, Christian Aranja will be on the front row. And GridLife GT highlights here from qualifying, our first qualifying session on the Toyo Proxys R. A lot of Toyo logos out there, a lot of KDM tuners cars, but Matan Rosenberg, past champion in Eibach GLTC, big lockup there going down into turn 14, so struggling with the ABS perhaps, and there's Aranja in that number 57, sort of a calico livery on it here this week.
Yeah, able to just put down 4 laps and take the top spot, holding the top of that grid at a 139.639, a fantastic run out there as we start to look at that amazing Mustang.
Yeah, and then of course Jordan Wisely getting after it there through the kink at turn number 10. Sparks flying out from underneath the Veloster. Eric Meadows out there pretty late using a lot of curbing. You see that tire bouncing around. I said in the opener, not a renewable resource, those suspension arms, unless you got a stack of them in the trailer.
Yeah, and you don't want to be ending the track run on the back of a trailer.
We're going to be right back right after this. GridLife GT qualifying complete. Gridlife South Carolina, the season opening round for 2026, and the Eibach Gridlife Touring Cup Series has shown up in a big way. 39 cars on the grid for qualifying here in just a moment's time. Jacob, really excited about this one.
Yeah, I'm pumped on this. This is such a cool class of cars. I mean, so many different chassis, so many different liveries, just everything, and it's such a wide-ranging rule set. But I'm excited. I really do love this class.
Yeah, really, it has just grown so much over the years, and of course, rule changes here and there, kind of tweaking and making it better every single year. I think the notable change is that there's only 2 V8s in this entire field now.
Right.
So that's a huge change from what we've seen in previous years. More like what we saw in 2019, 2020, 2021 when this series exploded in popularity. One of the exceptions is Eibach Magnussen in that gold and black BMW M3, right ahead of runner-up at the championship last year, Eric Catil and Hybrid Racing. He's got a lot more Eibach colors on that car this year. That car looks spectacular as always, but those two are going to be the juggernauts to beat this weekend.
Yeah, and properly set up out front right now. They're going to be really setting the pace for everybody else. I believe is our gridding based on last year's championship results?
So the gridding, typically they're going to go off of practice times.
Got it.
And that's how they're going to set the grid for qualifying. And then of course, as always with the other series, once we get to the races, we have basically a flow from race 1 to race 2. It's finishing order, then race 2 to race 3 is lap time, race 3 to race 4. You've got your position plus an invert is how we do that. So again, this is going to be an interesting session. A lot of new names and a lot of new faces and a lot of different unique cars that have joined our party. And as they roll out, I think some of the cars to point out in that mix, Daniel Geraldo in the Toyo Lexus IS. What a unique car.
Yeah.
It's so cool looking. Michael Hilo with Eibach sponsorship as well. That number 224, that's right behind the Nissan 350Z.
Yeah, it's an amazing grid. I mean, we're looking at S2000s, Miatas, or MX-5s, whatever, what have you. BMWs, 350Zs, or sorry, 370Z. So yeah, just a great mix of different chassis and different ways just to get around the track. But the racing is always very, very tight. It's aggressive, like sometimes needlessly aggressive. But if you want exciting racing, to me, this is it.
Yeah, this is going to be really, really cool. And have a look there. So this is one of the new things that we've got connected up now, so we can see the different vehicles in the field. So Corvette, Civic, S2000, 86, M3, MX-5, WRX. I think that one's wrong. Korth is in an MX-5, but IS250, 350Z. I mean, you've just got a crazy list of different vehicles here.
Yeah, 330i. Yeah, Civic Si. I mean, CRX in there still.
Yeah, a Kia Forte. Jay Rebus.
Love it.
In a Kia Forte. There's a really cool story on that I think Jackson's going to tell us about later this weekend. So
nice.
I'm excited to hear the whole story on that. He was excited about it.
I think the the 116 is the vehicle. I tried to snoop around a little bit more to find out. Very, very unique BMW. Not something you see very often.
Yeah, the 116i or the number 116.
Yes.
I think you're talking about Michael Pagano, the blue and orange car.
You are correct, sir.
Yeah, that's Pagano's Japanese market BMW 116.
Okay.
Right-hand drive.
Okay.
And paddle shift gearbox.
Love it.
So cool.
It looked like a full-size BMW, but someone had bit off the back.
How about the engines as well? You can see the the different engine types here. Hopefully everyone put their engines in correctly. I don't think Tom Panzarella's done that. 6.2-liter V8, though, for Magnussen, and then the 2.4-liter K24 that Eric Catil has. And, of course, Justin Lee in a 2-liter inline four. Just really need to see the variety up and down the field.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not sure Panzarella is at a 2.5-liter V10.
The challenge
that's
with
a new
this
one to me.
Is that you're relying on the drivers to tell you the right thing.
And the drivers have very interesting personalities and love nothing more than a good joke.
Yeah, of course. We had someone enter a Chevy van and drift, and I had to check no van. But
I wouldn't be shocked.
There is Eibach Magnussen in the M3. And have a look at the tires as well. So, a lot of Falcon representation here at the top of the field so far. Yellow flag waving, and it's gone. But, he's got a couple cars out there, some Maxxis representation, some Toyo representation. So, pretty good mix in the field. But
Vitor's out there as well. I know they've made a splash a couple years ago. So, yeah, but a good spread, and it shows, too, that there's you can match the tire to the chassis.
Yeah, really, really neat stuff. So we'll go back to the lap times here as we get our first times up on the board. And Eibach Magnussen won his first race as an Eibach GLTC. last year. Finally got up onto the podium and got some done. He's going to jump straight to the top of the board, and the rest of the field will follow.
Yeah, looks like Catil following in a close in second. Well, yeah, it's going to start tumbling here pretty quick. So 142.073 taking top spot so far. What do you think? Expect at least a half second out of that?
It's hard to know. I think our track record is definitely quicker than that by a second or two. So I do think we could see that drop pretty significantly. I think Catil's car will take a couple of laps to really come in.
Okay.
And he was really the one to beat last year, completely dominant.
Yeah.
But again, we don't really know. This is the biggest rule shakeup. It's like when you come into the new F1 season, right? It's like it's not a huge shakeup as far as a lot of the drivers are the same, but just these little tweaks have a big effect on how these cars are going to stack up. And Nick Barbado in the number 49, that's an E36 BMW M3, struggled a little bit last year. At times was really competitive, but just felt like he couldn't quite get his car to where he wanted with the rules, but now P2 on the second lap.
Yeah, looking very, very solid in that BMW. So start to see I believe almost all of our drivers now getting those representative times in. It looks like Till in that 200, no time set yet. Hopefully not just hopefully it's a transponder issue and that he's able to make it out as we start to focus in there on Eric Magnussen.
There's Michael Pagano in that 169 we were talking about. And no, he's not the passenger. That's a right-hand drive Japanese market car. And he's got a new engine in it this season. He's made some changes to it. And he was struggling a little bit with it earlier in the day. But he's got it figured out, I think.
Yeah, that's a 7-speed DCT manual on that bad boy. So super interesting. 3-liter inline 6. I don't know if that is the B58 or the S58.
B58 I believe in this car. So
I love the way this car looks.
It's so
especially looks like a huge car, and it's gone.
Yeah. you know what? The other cool thing is he's got teammate Chris Smith here as part of the Seems Legit Garage group. For the fans that are here at the racetrack, go over to their paddock spot by turn 1. They've got another BMW 1 Series over there running in track mod. Unfortunately, it basically vented the block in the test day, so they won't be running that car. But a very similar kind of reverse livery to this. It is spectacular. They do such a nice job. Their fire suits look phenomenal. Again, this is taking grassroots racing and just leveling it up another five levels. He's on Kumos here, another tire that we have seen a lot here in Eibach GLTC.
Nice little bit of fire there, keeping the turbo spooled up on that downshift going into our corner. But yeah, love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, I was joking with him earlier because Catil's car has been sort of the poster child car for some time as far as like take your vision and execute it all the way.
Right.
But I think Pagano has just matched him, as far as he wanted it to look like a BTCC car, and here it is.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, nailed it. If that's what he's going for, he absolutely nailed it.
So we'll see where he can land on the timing and scoring. At the moment, scored P26 as Justin Wingfield jumps up to 23rd. Joel Morrison up to 9th, knocks Panzarella down a spot. Michael Hilo has pulled off and then back on after turn 3.
It looks like we had a bit of a waving yellow, but it's already set aside. So just a quick one, maybe someone dipping a couple of tires off into the dirt.
Eric Catil just saw him peel off the racetrack, so he might seem satisfied for now. Magnussen has done the same. How about that? CRX number 37. This is, well, I spoke too soon. I got excited about it, but that car's pulled off.
Yeah. Yang having to find a safe place to hang out. Hopefully nothing too major, but we might see possibly a full course yellow considering the placement.
Yeah, Chi Yang, new to the Eibach GLTC series in that 1988 Honda CRX. There's Joel Morrison. And this is a J Series V6 under the hood of this S2000.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah. So there was a lot of drivers were K-swapping these things. The F Series motor that comes in the S2000 is a spectacular engine, just very expensive to replace.
Yes.
So the K24s were popular for a while, but when drivers were searching for even more torque, they went with another Honda solution, the V6 out of the Odyssey.
I was just going to say, if I was trying to remember what platforms that came in, and the Honda Odyssey was the first thing. Unfortunately, didn't come with the factory option of the vacuum cleaner to go in with that swap. But yeah, that's a super interesting build out, especially with the V6. It's a pretty narrow engine bay, so I'm sure fitting it in there is not the easiest task, but considering the little amount of work to get that in there, but the increase in torque, I'm sure it's worth it.
Yeah, there's that J35 you see at the bottom lower third there, and the H pattern manual gearbox. And Joel's car so easy to spot at a distance.
Yeah.
And we've got that full course yellow that we were sort of anticipating. Yep.
Yeah, so drivers having to take a bit of a chill there as we get that driver pulled off track. Hopefully nothing too major. Hard to tell from that. Didn't see any gases or smoke or fluids or anything else. So.
Yeah, and looks like they're going to bring all the cars back down the pit lane, and Joel got a little bit lucky with that because he was able to go straight to the pit lane and should be one of the first cars to head back out on course should we get back rolling once more. As far as the timing of this, Eibach GLTC has until 5:55 local time, which is 20 minutes from now. So we have quite a bit of time on the board still to get this in.
Yeah, let's say 5 minutes to get that car towed off and get cars back in. So 15 minutes is lots. You know, you're going to get but 2 minutes in on your warm-up lap and then start flying after that. So, I mean, it's nothing to say you could get 3 more solid laps given the amount of time that we've got now. But I believe you said Magnussen and Cattell both pulling in. Starting to see drivers split off. So a few of them maybe getting a quick hand on the vehicle and a few others ready to go back out.
Brian Hedian at the tail of that group there. That is the black and gray S2000 from the Northeast. Joined us at pit race last year. Ran right up inside the top 5. It is not easy to just show up and run top 5 in Eibach GLTC. No. He's one of the drivers that was able to do it.
Interesting. It's always cool when you hear about a driver just kind of coming in, putting their time down, and kind of going, there you go. Welcome, welcome everybody.
Ayrton Grimm, 16-year-old in the purple and orange MX-5, right behind teammate Blake Korth, supported by the CRP Racing cars. And we've got another bottleneck at the pit entry again. It's just so packed out there. Got a note passed along from Jackson down on the pit lane that the number 10 of Brian Tyson, I see him pulling in. He is running wingless right now in that Ford Focus.
Interesting.
I don't think that he left the pits without it, but I wonder if he was trying to figure out if he could gain some speed or if he was fighting a handling issue or something.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, obviously we have some pretty long straights at this track, so cutting down on the drag. I mean, considering it's a front-wheel drive vehicle, you're not looking for all that much downforce in the rear, but maybe some stability. So opting for a little bit slippery of a car to potentially pick up some top speed.
Well, with Eibach GLTC headed to the pit lane for just a moment while we recover the number 37 of Chi Yang, we're going to step away for a brief moment. More Eibach GLTC qualifying right after this.
Tire Rack. We test tires to provide you with truth, transparency, and unbiased recommendations. We stock over 1 million tires to ensure we have what you need. We're Tire Rack. We work hard to ship your tires fast and free. We offer convenient installation options to keep you moving forward. We do all this for one reason. Tires matter. TireRack.com, official tire retailer of Gridlife.
When we modify our cars, we do it to feel a greater connection, a more responsive feel between ourselves and the road.
Well, it's cooling off a little bit here in the tail hours of Friday, April 17th, the season opener for GridLife South Carolina, the first of 6 rounds of 2026. Kyle Heyer joined by Jacob Gettins under a black flag right now for Eibach GLTC qualifying, picking up Chi Yang. His CRX stopped on driver's left, exiting turn 3. Looked mechanical, so we should be underway here momentarily.
Look mechanical, not chemical, right?
Right.
Yeah, not chemical. No chemistry, just...
physiological would be, that would be, oof.
And if it's biological, that's even worse.
Or geological. That'd be a real bad day.
It is a little rocky on the outskirts.
Oh, man, that was
Here
dumb.
we go.
Oh,
you sure you don't have kids? That was a good dad joke.
There's a look at Peter Zhang, Mason Bursack, who's new here this weekend. There's Tom Panzarella in that Volkswagen Jetta.
Love it.
Lisa Keys. And there's that Jay Rivas' Kia Forte, which, again, Jackson's got a story on we'll hear from a little bit later this weekend. Robert McDaniels, Nick Barbado, Justin Lee, looks like Blake Korth, Vitas Aronowski on the right, Sam Scott, Brian Tyson. These are my flashcards rolling off your screen.
I was just going to say, I want people to know that he wasn't looking at anything but the screen for that entire section. That's impressive, sir.
We get back here with some of the newer folks. Alan Newsom in the RX-7 there, Dai Wynn. And Carlos Mendez is back here in a couple of cars that are new to me. There's Andy Smedegard in the 212. That's that Toyota 86, the FA24 swap car that was so solid at the tail end of last season. There's the 89, the Volkswagen Jetta that supposedly, according to him, has a V10. Very funny.
I like it. I like it. If you can't have a laugh.
Right, there you go. Tom Panzarella behind the wheel. I love a good old 80s Jetta. I think these things are so neat looking. Box flares all day.
Yeah, and it's, if you tell a 5-year-old to draw a car, that's what they draw, right?
Yeah.
They try a box.
That's what I would draw still, probably.
Yeah.
But, yeah, on a track, and he's still up inside the top 10, which I'm really impressed. We talked about the minor rules changes that we've seen that kind of shifted the balance a little bit. And the cars that sort of occupied the middle ground of the power and weight region of Eibach GLTC, I think now we're sort of given this little bit of a bolster.
Yeah.
And we're seeing a lot of a shakeup here. I mean, Ayrton Grimm in a turbo MX-5, 4th. Geraldo with that Lexus 5-liter V8 P5. A couple of S2000s in there between Hedian and Waldbaum. Smedgard's 86. Tom Panzarella's Jetta. Like, what a mix of cars up in this top 10.
Yeah, and realistically, with last year's rule set, they would be happy to be breaking into the top 10. And now it seems like they found themselves in a very, very good position. We've got great times pretty much across the board, so it sounds like we're back to racing.
You know what I wonder? Maybe I'm giving Tom too much crap here because I don't even know if I have an inline 5 engine option. I should check that.
Oh,
so maybe you picked a V10 because it was half. Double of. Well, I'll figure it out later. You know, new systems. We'll figure it out.
Do you have a VR6 in there for him?
I don't think so. Okay. The engine model is a freehand type. And all the engine style is a drop-down.
Gotcha. Okay.
I couldn't possibly know all the different engines people are going to show up with.
W16. Make sure that's in there too. One day.
Zach Mortimer in the 369, another car that I think looks great. Very long nose, long tail, but great-looking car. Has that touring car look to it.
Can take up some space when we get to the wheel side of things. Just a little more real estate on track.
I think this is his 2nd-year anniversary here. I think his first event with us was this event last season. So.
Car's looking good. Little, maybe just a touch soft, but I mean, right now you're going to want the car just to be as tacky as you can get it, right? You want it pretty easy to drive. You want to be able to get out there, but I mean, it looks tidy. Just saw it leaning pretty heavily into that corner, but seems to be dealing with it quite well.
Yeah, this is one of those tracks, again, with the flat surface. I think your mechanical grip, you know, there's a couple corners that you need a little downforce in, but I think your mechanical grip is what you're going to want here. So if you can soften those springs up a little bit, you're going to have a better time in some of the slower sections. Here's a look at the 729. This is another one of our new drivers joining us, Justin Wingfield, joining the fray in this E36. And I believe this is his first go. 3.2 liter inline 6. About it's on the heavy end of the scale, 2,990 pounds.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of mass as we can start to see this. The car leaning over pretty good. How is it doing under braking? Not too bad, looking fairly flat, but tucking some wheel there. Pretty hard. Having to back out of that corner.
Yeah. Should also note Eric Catil didn't beat Magnussen, but just improved on his best lap. He's within a 1/10 of a second of provisional pole.
We've seen the time sticking pretty tight there in the 142, especially within our top 5. So just shows the pointy end of the pack is very, very close.
Every time I think this car can't get prettier, he does it again. But more Eibach coloration on it, bigger logos there, more support this year for Eric Catil, new wheels, a couple other changes, and everyone was joking that he actually got to paint the ceiling of his garage earlier this month, and everyone was like, all right, you must be pretty confident in your race car then, if you're painting the garage. So there's a sore spot there for sure, but Eric is really, really solid, and of course he and Nick Barbado, this white number 49, they've had a head-to-head quite a bit at Lime Rock Park. Catil with the big wiggle at turn 10.
Yeah, held on to it pretty well. Now we see him under braking. That car shifting a little bit as he gets hard onto the brakes, but able to keep things fairly tidy, and getting the back end just a little slippery, some knockback on the brakes before going to this last section. Front wheel drive is going to be taking these corners just a little bit differently than the rears. You know, your turn-in is going to be a bit different. When you can get on the power is going to be a bit different, and maybe through these tighter sections, through 11 and 14, they'll have that advantage. Yeah, and again, Eric is one of these drivers that's going to run a staggered setup, so he's going to run a wider tire in the front than the rear. Yeah. Otherwise, you'd be running a square, maybe a little bigger in the rear, but he's backwards from that. And the way the tire size is done is to take the average front to rear. Oh, okay. So if you're limited by your weight to a 255, you can run a 265 front and a 245 rear. Gotcha. So that's how that works. Brian Hedian letting Joel Morrison on by. Quick pass, wave through. And we've still got a handful of minutes left. There's plenty of time. I know there's a lot of traffic out there, but it seems like a lot of the drivers up in the top 10 seem pretty satisfied with their lap times. We might see them come back out right at the very end to try to pip everybody. And the track's cooling off moment by moment here. Yeah, we're getting a lot more cloud cover than we started the day with, which for two announcers sitting outside right now, very, very welcome. But yes, for the drivers as well, chatting with a few of them, the track was getting just hot. That's it. And the tires can overheat very quickly on track temps that are well north of 100 Fahrenheit, which, 40 Celsius for our Canadian fans and European fans tuning in. Thank you so much. So, yeah, now being able to drop it down just a little bit means the car's going to be a bit more compliant. Yeah, 2.4 liter inline 4 K24, as is so common with these S2000s. Someone in the chat said, why would you go through all that effort for such a little performance gain? It's not about the performance, it's about the replaceability and the servicing. An F20 motor that would have come in these cars is extraordinarily expensive. K24s can be had for $800 at a junkyard. Well, the other part to that is just the modability of it, right? The K24, take your pick of what you want. The catalog is massive, but when you stick with the stock engine out of the S2000, if you really want power adders, you're looking at turbo. That's basically where you're at, and that's more weight. You're not looking at intercooler piping. K24, you can do so much with it still NA and have some incredible power bands, and of course the legendary VTEC. Absolutely. Full course yellow again towards the tail end of the session here. Brian Santiago on your screen. There are two Ford Focuses in this field. I was wondering, did he put the wing back on, or are we looking at a new one? This is a different one. This is Brian Santiago, and again, he's got some nice big fender flares on this. He's detuned a little bit, at least as he was last year. These cars, I think stock, they're around 250, I want to say. Yeah. So you're going to have to detune a little bit to make the power to weight and the power limitations of 240. A lot of work in the off-season for him, and wasn't sure if he was going to make it here, but indeed he has made it. Yeah, unfortunately not the session he wanted. I think he was sitting down around 33rd, so not great. But you don't know what's going on, right? We can't teleport in there. Could you imagine if we had comms with these drivers though? If we just like, how's the lap going? Terrible. Leave me alone. There was a time the ASM guys run radios in their cars, and there was a time that we thought about, give me a radio. I want to chat with Andy mid race. That would be interesting. When I worked as media for race teams, we'd always record the radio because there is some incredible conversations between a race car driver and their crew. Yeah, that will scare the driver and the team, and probably even more than that. And definitely the sponsors. The sponsors for sure. It was. It's always very real, let's say. Yeah, absolutely. So Nick Barbado making his way around on the cool down lap. Michael Pagano also coming in. And our show today is just the qualifying shows. So tomorrow we've got a full day of action, 8:30 to 6:30 as far as the GridLife coverage goes. Sunday, we're going to be doing the same all the way until the afternoon, wrapping up with the race 4s for each of our wheel-to-wheel series and podium sprint for track battle. And we've got full course drift tomorrow, but tonight, night shift drift, 7 to 9 on YouTube, here on the GridLife YouTube channel, and on Racer as well. Yeah, and it's, unhinged, I think, is the best way to put it. It's going to be a good time. Greg Bussell, a great friend of ours, will be hosting a lot of that, and we're not sure exactly what the plan is. We just want to hang out, chat about drifting, and have a great time, and that's basically going to be the goal of this nighttime hangout.
So with cars on the pit lane, I'm curious now. There's only a couple minutes left in the session here, Jacob. So it is likely that they'll wrap this one up, but we'll give another second to sort it before we take a look at, you know what, why don't we just look at the results instead? I think they're probably going to end up calling this without, I don't know where the car is off that they're trying to go fetch. So let's have a look here at the results for Eibach GLTC qualifying. And let's get a look at this before we wrap things up here for the day. For those of you here at the racetrack, USF Juniors qualifying is coming up next. And again, full day of action tomorrow and Sunday from Gridlife, South Carolina. And cars on the pit lane, I don't know that we're going to get, if they do get back out on track, they're going to get a warm-up. And it's Justin Wingfield we were talking about him for a moment.
Yeah.
So
that's no good. Hopefully nothing too crazy. But yeah, Justin Wingfield taking up 23rd.
Here's a look at your results. It is Eric Magnuson at the top of the board in that BMW M3. Eric Catil second. A couple BMWs surrounding him. Barbado, then Grimm, Geraldo, Hedian, Smedegaard, Waldbaum, Morrison, and Blake Korth in the MX-5. Great spread there. V8, four-cylinder engines, turbocharged cars. Great mix there up inside the top 10. Quick look down the rest of the order here as well as we look on 11th on down. Tom Panzarella just missed the top 10.
So close, yeah. Michael Hilo in the 350Z, Mason Bursak in the M3, Justin Lee, Carlos Mendez, Salil Shukla, Jeff Donati, Kenwu Lee as Zachary Mortimer, and RJ Till rounding at the top 20. Great mix of chassis.
Yeah, Sam Scott getting on course, 21st place there. Brian Hendricks in his first run with us here in the 647 car. Dai Wynn, 24th, right behind Justin Wingfield, who brought the end of this session. Vitas Arnauskas, Brian Tyson, Michael Pagano, we talked about Ben Swanson, Chi Yang, and Peter Zhang, your top 30. And yet there is another page here.
Incredible. Robert McDaniels, Alan Newsom, Brian Santiago, Max Gurley, Jay Ribas, Lisa Keys, and Dan Precourt rounding out the end of our 37 in a 944 Turbo.
Yeah.
I didn't even see it on track.
Yeah, I don't know that he got a representative time with that 202.1.
Yeah, maybe just the opening. That sucks. Love that car.
Yeah. So, Dan, tail end of the field there, we're expecting 39, so at least 2 cars did not get to the grid, and we'll have Jackson find that out for us.
It's a bold move, Cotton, as they say.
Again, it's going to make your weekend real long to start at the tail of the field.
Yeah.
But there's a look at the paddock. It is just jam-packed like sardines in here from all of the Gridlife entrants, USF Juniors here. The campers are loading in, and the festivities start tonight with Night Shift Drift. Of course, we've got Sullivan King on tap, Chill tomorrow as well. So going to be a great show tomorrow evening, and after the grid, got a pump party at the fuel pumps here on tap as well, but I just don't know how many more cars you can jam in here before it gets unmanageable.
Not many. There's a few spots right there and there, but yeah, it's pretty packed in all the way across, even over to the go-kart track. It's a phenomenal time already, and we're just getting started. So I think they're just releasing those cars to probably come right back into the pits.
Yeah, I don't think that they're going to get back around for a full lap. And again, they hadn't thrown the checker, but I was pretty confident that we're not going to see any big improvements or changes in that running order. So they might give them just a run around the loop here before we wrap things up for the day from our side.
So far, so good.
So far, so good. I think, yeah, I'm really excited. And again, for all those waiting for the Gridlife Track Battle coverage, a couple of heats underway today, but we got a lot of coverage still coming for the Gridlife Track Battle stuff tomorrow, including Podium Sprint live on the Racer Network for the first time. The Gridlife Time Attack on TV. How cool is that?
Super cool, yeah. We've got, almost 8 hours of broadcast tomorrow and then into Sunday as well. So thank you so much already for spending at least part of your week with us and hopefully most of your weekend as we get through all this.
So Robert McDaniels working his way around course here, and again, they might give him one lap. There's only a couple drivers out there though, Jacob, so like we said, I don't think we're going to see any big pickups this lap.
No, maybe a couple of changes a little bit lower on in our display, but I think overall this is probably going to be the order as we saw it and read out a little bit earlier on. Yeah, interesting sponsor there, Duff Brewing.
Yeah, so coming back around, probably about a dozen, giving it one more go here. But let's have a look here at our highlights for Eibach Gridlife Touring Cup qualifying as they're just wrapping up their last little runs at speed here. And kick things off, it was kind of a slow outlap, which I know Race Control doesn't love here, Jacob. They don't like seeing the F1 train. But,
no, they don't want it packed up like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'd rather drivers stretch their legs a little bit. But once everybody had a little bit of heat into their tires, there it is. Magnussen out front. And basically, Eric started at the front of the pack, and he finished at the front of the pack with a 142.073, doing a great job. So to see a couple of our more unique chassis out on track.
What an eclectic mix of cars there. And then, of course, this was one of our first full-course yellow Chi Yang in the number 37 CRX, bringing out a black flag. The cars went back down to the pit lane, got back out on the racetrack. Tom Panzarella, Nick Barbado chasing each other around in some German boxy machinery. And then, wow, big moment there for Eric Catil, getting everything he can out of that hybrid racing EG. And just hunting for time up into second place. And we've seen he and Magnussen go back and forth a number of times. Brian Santiago out there in the Focus getting it done.
Yeah, another great chassis. I think with a little bit more development, that Focus ST could probably be sitting much higher in the pack as unfortunately wrap up that session due to that black flag. And there we go, Wingfield also getting the toe of shame off track. Hopefully everything is all good. He'll be thrashing in the pits. If you want a bit of a show, head over to his pits and see what's the matter.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot going on in the paddock tonight with some mechanical things to sort out and fix. But GridLife South Carolina, day one of On Track is wrapping up here for the GridLife stuff as we get ready to wrap here shortly. But GridLife Night Shift Drift, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern, live on the GridLife YouTube channel and on Racer.
I'm looking forward to that. I don't even know. Yeah, like I said, we're still figuring out what it's going to be. But what I will tell you is it's going to be entertaining, that's for sure. Anything with Greg Bussell in it is always a good time.
All right, well, Greg Bussell, we'll see him at 7 o'clock for GridLife Night Shift Drift. GridLife South Carolina, day one, complete here. From our side, Kyle Heyer, Jacob Gettens. We'll see you on Saturday.
Every day, you trust your car with the things you care about most. At FCP Euro, we deliver you quality European car parts without compromise. What drives you is what drives us. We're driven by quality, researched and curated. Every part earns its place on our shelves. If we wouldn't put it on our cars, we won't sell it to you. Driven by trust and expertise, obsessed with the details, offering the right parts, guidance, and support when you need it most. We're driven by you, keeping your European cars on the road for the last 40 years. Head to fcpeuro.com to shop quality European car parts and get 5% off your first order over $149.
Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Carolina Motorsports Park as we get ready to go qualifying with the drivers here in USF Juniors, the first rung of a three-step program leading drivers out of karting all the way to the NTT IndyCar Series. USF Juniors, the first step, USF 2000 next in line, USF Pro 2000, and from there, the last 5 or 6 champions have worked their way all the way to the NTT IndyCar Series through Indy next, and looking forward to getting these young drivers here, anywhere from 14 to essentially 20 years of age is kind of the window we see for the drivers here in USF Juniors. They're ready to get on track for qualifying for what will be 3 races, a triple header here at Carolina Motorsports Park, rounds number 4, 5, and 6 of the series. We were on track back in mid-February. The juniors drivers actually going wheel-to-wheel racing during our annual spring training event. That was held February 16th to 18th down in Homestead, Miami Speedway, a triple header there. And they've been waiting for 2 months, as I said in the pre-show, just itching to get back behind the wheel and to get racing once again. And this track here is going to be a very fast and flowing 2.27 mile circuit, 14 corners. So it's a fast track. It's fairly flat, not a lot of elevation change. It's going to challenge these drivers for sure. Tire degradation being one of the primary keys to getting quick around this racetrack, and that'll make things interesting here in qualifying for sure. They're probably going to have maybe 5 laps on these Continental tires, the new fresh rubber, before they're going to lose the top end of those tires in the max performance. Getting ready to roll out here again, as I said, it is essentially 20 minutes of qualifying. It is a 30-minute time window. If we go green to checker with no issues, as we have through all of the sessions so far here this weekend, kudos to the juniors drivers for that. We'll have just 20 straight minutes of green flag running here. And again, drivers working their way out onto the track. Great shot here. First time for me to pick up the cameras we're going to see here through our association with the GridLife crew. A fantastic event, a festival, if you will, here at Carolina Motorsports Park. A number of different car classifications, part of the GridLife program. They've got drifting here as well on the Carolina Motorsports Park karting facility. There is a lot going on here throughout the weekend. A lot of people here, all part of the car culture, and it's exciting to get a chance, really for me, to be able to show them, I know for everybody from our series, the USF Pro Championships presented by Continental Tire, to show this particular group of people the future stars of IndyCar. This is it, right? This is the first step into the open wheel Formula Car Slicks and Wings program. And it's already bearing fruit, as we know. If you've watched this program for any number of years, we are super excited to see the drivers who are coming to the forefront in the Indy Next Series. Max Taylor being one, a former champion in this series. Alessandro Di Tullio was part of the USF Juniors program the very first year when it debuted in 2022. And not surprisingly, great results thus far this year, and a couple of victories for Nikita Johnson, running for Cape Motorsports. Nikita, again, one of the drivers who has scored victories, as did Max Taylor, all the way up through the ranks through USF Juniors, USF 2000, USF Pro 2000, and we're now finding them as race winners in the Indy Next program. All 3 of those drivers, no doubt, being discussed by IndyCar team owners as they look towards 2027 and beyond. Let's take the opportunity to say hello to those of you who are tuned into the broadcast here. Our first of 4 broadcasts on the weekend. We have 2 races coming tomorrow. 10:10 a.m. Eastern start for race number 1. We'll come back in the afternoon with a 2:55 start. 1 race to cap off the triple header on Sunday morning. That'll be 10:10. Again, those drivers are, again, ready to wrap up the triple header. From there, they look forward to Canadian Tire Motorsports Park in the middle of May, the Victoria Weekend Speed Fest up at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, formerly known as Mosport, the iconic facility just north of Toronto. That's a May 14th to 16th event. Before that time, they'll head to Mid-Ohio for a test day, a couple of test days actually, April 27th and 28th. The drivers getting out there, getting things underway here. Qualifying for USF Juniors. Good shot there, the 87 of Leonardo Saravalli, the Canadian of Thorold, Ontario, Canada. Limited couple of years in karting, but man, he made the most of it. Natural talent for sure, won a bunch of Canadian championships. And great to have him here with Zanella Racing. 22 drivers in total here this weekend, as well as we also welcome a new driver running for VRD Racing with pole position, and that is Arthur Barbe, the young driver, 15 years of age, out of Coral Gables, Florida. He'll make his debut here this weekend. Camera's picking up the 87 there of Saravalli as well. You'll notice that